name is Jamini Samaratunga. I'm a content transformation and embodiment coach. I help business leaders and social leaders to transform stress into vitality, pain into purpose, negative, limiting, blocking, painful energies into inspiring business ideas and inspiring social development ideas. Welcome to the third knowledge sharing session of NLP for Success video series. NLP stands for Neuro Linguistic Programming. I have studied NLP more than 20 years ago. NLP is essentially part of me, my life. I can comfortably say that I breathe NLP, I eat NLP, I sleep with NLP. It is essentially an integrated discipline in my life, specifically guiding my thought processes, guiding my mental energy throughout the day, throughout my life, and especially in challenging and difficult situations. Along with NLP, I also have studied other disciplines related to mind, body, and soul, especially subjects related to energy medicine or energy healing. Things like Reiki, which is a Japanese energy healing art. And also, one of the latest addition to my skills portfolio is Qigong. It is part of traditional Chinese medicine. It is movement meditation, and it helps you bring about balance in the mind, heart, that is emotions, and the body energies. I also have practiced meditation from my early days. So essentially, I have more than 30 years practice, hands-on practice in meditation. Foundation is going to the Buddhist meditation practice, including samatha and vipassana types of meditations, and mindfulness meditations, and many other meditative practices I developed over the years through my own life experiences and realizations. So along with these experiences, the NLP that I teach and use to coach essentially is quantum in nature. In other words, it's not just about programming the mind, changing negative thoughts into positive thoughts. Not really. It's something more than that. It is something that you can experience in your heart, and certainly something that can help you heal even physically. So once again, I welcome to this third session of the NLP for Success video series. And in today's video, I like to take you through yet another NLP journey on an important topic. This topic again can add value to your life. Certainly can help you bring about a positive transformation. And this particular topic that I am going to talk to you today is essentially one foundational pillar of the subject of NLP. So the topic for today is NLP Success Formula. NLP Success Formula essentially has three components. We identify them as present state, desired state, and in between you have something called interferences or bridging or the gap. So in life we have a present moment experience or present life situation that we are experiencing through our five senses, and from the mind we give meanings to these sensory experiences. Sometimes the present moment or the present life situation is positive, it's nice, we like to be in the present life situation, we feel good. In fact, it could be a situation that we don't want to see anything changed because it's so good. But of course we know life is life. Many times during a day, or at least many times during a lifetime of a person, we are facing difficulties, challenges, painful, limiting, blocking life experiences that we really choose not to be in. So the present life situation or present moment is painful. I choose not to be in here. That is the fundamental thought process of such situations. I don't want to be in. I don't like this place. I want something better. That kind of motivation, that kind of pain, and certainly it's suffocating. So the moment you have a presenting problem or a painful present moment or a challenging current life situation, on the other side of the bridge is the desired state. Every time we recognize what we don't want, we recognize what we want. Every time we recognize and become aware of what I choose not to be in, I am beginning to perceive what I desire to be in, what I desire to experience in life. So it's like the two sides of the coin, or the two sides of a mountain. In the morning, one side of the mountain is lit up. It's beautiful, it's light, it's sunny side of the mountain. The moment there's a sunny side, there is also the shady side of the mountain, the dark side. And at night, the light side of the mountain beginning to get darker, and the shady or the dark side of the mountain gets to be brighter. So the same mountain, 2 times of the day, is experienced differently. Same with our life. The challenge, however, for many of us is to be equipped with tools, techniques, philosophies, perspectives, and approaches to deal with the shady side, the dark side, the night time, the painful time, and also how to navigate our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors during those difficult times determines what a person I am as a person, what my character essentially is. Life situations sometimes is totally beyond our control, and we really can't do anything about it other than changing the way we define it, changing the way we experience it internally, and thereby, in fact, making a positive impact on the outside environment. It is possible. It is certainly possible. And then it is a co-creative experience between you and the so-called external environment. In fact, it becomes a beautiful rhythmic co-creation, a beautiful dance in nature, a beautiful melody and a harmony. But it can be a harmonious, beautiful, melodious, and lovingly aligned dance movement only if you know how to deal with painful situations. It cannot be otherwise. It's all within you. The power is within you to make it harmonious or otherwise. Because usually when things are difficult, when the present moment or present life situation is painful, and when we are experiencing what we don't want, right, we feel disappointed, our attention is fixated onto the condition or the problem situation. And then the problem gets further aggravated. It feels like we are losing control every moment. Like every time you try to take control of the situation, you're losing control. Have you experienced that in your life? I have experienced that many times in my life, and every day the self-realization gets better. And then I also have literally mastered how to bounce back from every moment that I choose not to be into a moment of pleasant, fulfilling, joyful, abundant, basically an empowered state. It's called personal mastery. It takes time, effort, and guidance from a coach or a teacher. Or sometimes you can be your own teacher and the coach. It's totally possible. I really had to become my own teacher. It's a challenging journey, but that made me who I am. And while thanking all the teachers of NLP, Reiki, Qigong, all those wonderful people I met in my life who guided me with the technicalities, I also had to become my teacher in initiations. So I thank myself first for making those decisions. So I invite you also to thank yourself first for choosing to watch this video. Now, with years of experience working with thousands and thousands of people, as in one-on-one as well as in group settings, what I've noticed about very many of people is that they don't know how to detach from painful life situations, how to step back, how to become an observer, how to become a reflector of what's happening. Because many people get affected emotionally. And the moment people get affected emotionally, it affects physically. So it actually starts, any problem situation starts as a thought process. But many of us don't pick the problem or become aware of the problem before it manifests into a physical experience. We usually become aware of the problem when we physically experience it. So it's difficult to do something called damage control. And especially, it's really difficult to do damage control, or in simple words, to solve the issue, if the person has been really unconscious about what's happening and have not taken, the person has not taken any action about what has been happening for a long time. So the person lives in a reality which he or she considers to be very true and real, and literally believing that's my destiny, that's my truth, and this is my life, and simply accepting it for what it is, without even putting any effort, mental, physical, or emotional effort, to recognize that he or she deserves a better life. I have noticed this very many people. They feel stuck, they feel imprisoned, they live a life they don't desire, they live a life they are not happy with, they don't feel content, and they are so used to not feeling content, happy for a long period of time, and it has got into their neurology or nervous system, In other words, it has become a full-scale physical experience, physical reality, and they do not know any other way of living life. Even to present an idea that something new is possible or something completely different is possible, happiness is possible, freedom is possible, good health is possible, healing is possible, money and abundance and richness is possible, is very challenging to these people. They might even feel extremely threatened by those ideas or feel insecure and might even feel bad about themselves. As a result of such feelings, they might even project that bad feeling to other people, or especially the person who's presenting such ideas. Usually, when people are extremely comfortable with pain, which is in their present state, the PS, the present state, the first variable of the success formula, when they are comfortable with pain, it's difficult for them to become comfortable with healing initially. However, it doesn't mean it is impossible for such people to have a breakthrough. In the subject of NLP, we believe that everyone has potential for genius. And there's no failure, there's only feedback. So, I believe the same. I'm not just saying it. It's not just in the subject of NLP. I firmly believe, and I have experienced that in my life. And certainly many other people that I have come into contact with. So, that is hope always. But it's important we become more and more aware about our own lives and be able to see our lives just like we are observing a river from a distance and be able to make a good assessment about what's happening in our life. And life, as we discussed in the first knowledge sharing session, so in case if you are someone watching this video before watching the first knowledge sharing session, please go and watch that video first, or perhaps even later. You will make sense out of this content much better when you have that knowledge, that foundational knowledge. So please, once again, if you are watching this video in the YouTube channel, the Transformational Coaching YouTube channel, subscribe to this channel, like, comment, and you can also ask any questions you may have. So hopefully I can do some future videos on those special important questions that you may have about this content. Feel free to ask questions or comment. And especially this particular video series, try to follow it from the beginning, then it makes much sense to you. And especially if you are someone who's new to me as a person, and also if it is new to you, NLP is new to you. Right, so I was talking about life, right? So there are two dimensions of life. The first dimension is the story, the narrative we have in our head about our life. So it's a language, it's a narrative. It's Sinhala, English, Tamil, French, whatever the language you used to think in your head and you used to speak. This narrative consists of that language. There's the other dimension of life, which is beyond the narrative, which is beyond the verbal representation of life. The moment we verbalize our internal experience, or the second dimension of life, is a story. And story is not the real thing. However, story is the representation of the real thing, or the real life which we are experiencing in every cell in our body. Now, when I use the word, let's say, the word every cell in our body, right? Maybe you have an image in your head about a cell. You have seen it in a science book or on a YouTube video, some image about a cell. Now, do you really know what a cell looks like? Maybe a scientist would consider it as a circular thing, some kind of shape. It has a boundary, it has a nucleus, etc. Right? And they will look at some particle in a microscope, and then we'll try to draw it, conceptualize it, and then present to the world as the structure of the truth of a cell. However, we all know that is not the truth. Truth is something completely different and usually beyond any verbal explanation. And how do I know about that? How can I talk about it with a smile on my face and easiness in my heart? is something that you can experience in meditation. And especially now I'm practicing this interesting subject called Qigong. It's a movement meditation for well-being, total well-being. It's partly a martial arts, and the other side of it is the traditional acupuncture or acupressure, which comes in the Chinese traditional medicine. And then you have this simple movement meditative practices which enhances your mental, physical, emotional well-being. Now, when you do these things, even some things like yoga and deep prayer, right? People experience life completely differently, and they come out of it and they're not able to really experience the whole thing. Maybe they will end up dancing, singing, painting a beautiful picture, or try to narrate it to someone. However, the narration or the expression of that experience is never going to be the real experience. So, in the present moment, right, what is important for us to do if it is painful and limiting is that we become aware of the pain, because pain is something it's a very powerful thing, right? Pain is something powerful, so it has tremendous power over us, so it takes our attention. The problem is when we experience pain, and we experience pain, limiting energies, draining energies, negative energies in our body, in our psyche, right? So what happens is that when it takes over our attention and awareness, that is where things really go out of control. But if I can simply become aware of the pain, I'm aware of the pain, but I'm not identified with it. That is where we can take control of what's happening. So, not being aware of the pain and experiencing it as if it's happening to me, it's trying to destroy me, it's trying to basically making me and my life miserable. If that is the kind of attitude, that is just like you are in the water screaming for help when you actually have the power to jump out of the water and safeguard yourself. It's just like screaming in the water for help without putting effort to come out of it. And I understand that there can be many life situations where we feel completely helpless, and we feel that we just have no power over what's happening, and therefore not knowing what to do. There are many occasions in our lives that we scream for help, either silently or loudly. If you are an extrovert, say someone like me, hopefully you will scream out for help and someone might come for help. But there are some people who are very introverted and they don't even know how to scream for help, ask for help. In fact, that itself is perhaps the best thing you can think of in a difficult situation. The best behavior perhaps is to really ask for help. We know in life there are situations that we are supposed to ask for help. And screaming out for help and asking for help, reaching out for help is also a positive behavior. It took many number of years in my life to learn that behavior, to adopt that behavior. Because I was so trained to fix my problems by myself, it finally took too much of my personal power and energy away, that I became too self-sustaining, that I did not know how to get along with others and ask for help and give other people an important place in my life. So I can relate to you if you are struggling in a situation where you don't know how to ask for help. You want to, but you don't know. If you don't know, that means you have not learned that behavior. But I'm here to tell you, it's a behavior that you can adopt, and you can, initially it can be difficult, but later on it gets easier, just like anything in life. So the first step, according to the NLP Success Formula, is to get a careful get a careful and a detailed understanding about what's happening in the present moment. Present moment could be an exact present life moment or overall present life situation. And the most important thing you got to become aware is the emotional impact of the presenting problem. If the emotional impact is heavy, it's nearly impossible for someone to break free from the problem situation. So the first thing to do to take care of the presenting problem is to do something to ease off the emotional charge. Continued emotional charge, feeling powerless, feeling angry, feeling disappointed, depressed, frustrated, all so-called negative emotions, if continued, definitely going to make you feel sick or really sick. Feeling sick and having a particular symptom for a long period of time which makes you a sick person, they are two different things. So we advocate people to take care of their symptoms at early stages so they don't become ailments or sicknesses which can be really life-threatening and not so life-affirming, right? So the first step, let me repeat it to you, is to become aware how much negative emotional charge you are experiencing as at now because of the present problem. If it is really high or it is getting more than medium, it's going above average, you can feel it in your body, your body is stressed out and the thoughts in your mind are getting more and more negative. If you notice these signs, it's time to stop trying to struggle to fix the situation. Because the natural tendency is this old fight and flight response, the normal stress response. Right? Our brain, if there's pain, it will either fight with it or will try to run away. This is a normal, typical animal response. It's very biological. But we are humans. We can evolve beyond problems. This is why we are, in fact, superior species, the most superior species on Earth, while there are many more powerful other animals, species on Earth. Because we can evolve from a situation just by changing our perspective about it. So the normal response when pain is there is to fight with it or run away from it. But what we advocate is for you to first detach from the emotions and find out ways of transforming that painful energy into something purposeful, something beneficial. So how can you do this? If it is really difficult, how can you do it? The first step is to breathe deeply. I know. Is that what it is? Yes, it is. The first step is actually to become aware of your breath. This is the first, because your body is your first place of existence, first evidence of your existence, and the ultimate mechanism that makes you feel alive or makes you keep alive is breathing. Moment your attention is onto a pain or a problem or a threat, your brain has already now considered it as life-threatening. And that signal goes to every other important organ, and they get ready to fight or flight. Either way, huge amount of energy is released in your system. Now, throughout our life, this is why we keep running away from problems or fighting the same old battle. Does that make sense? Or do you feel it familiar when I say that? That we keep running away from the same problem or keep struggling, fighting with the same old problem. We keep actually fighting the same old problem because we try to fix it using the same old way, same old approach and strategy. So if there's a problem, the present situation, which is a problem, if it is something that is repeating in your life, it's really time for you to do some self-seeking or truth-seeking instead of just acting to fight it or run away from it. It's time to go into seclusion, meditation, reflection. It's actually time for non-action. Non-action, which is very difficult for many people. So when a present life situation is emotionally charged and you can feel it's going out of control, how do you know it's going out of control? You can physically feel drained, stressed, or sick. And there are symptoms, physical symptoms, maybe overall body or different parts of your body, certain organs giving signals that something is not right. The red bulb or the alarm is going off. But what we do most of the time is that we keep ignoring the red light, we keep ignoring the alarms, and we keep somehow trying to put more effort to fix the problem, operating from the wrong place. And then the problem keep repeating. So if you are experiencing something like that, please pay attention to this. Try to absorb what I'm trying to communicate to you. Do your best, you can. So any moment where you can create a space between you and the present problem is to start breathing deeply. Meaning you bring your attention to your breath, your life affirming natural mechanism of nature. Breathing. You start breathing deeply. Initially putting some effort unconsciously. Later on you get into a kind of rhythm. So I recommend people to start doing deep breathing for more than 17 seconds. If the emotional charge it's bad, it's limiting, it's painful, it's hurting you and others, breathe for around 17 seconds. Again you breathe for another 17 seconds. And then you increase it for 17 more. And another 17. So overall, like within around 1 minute, you have created a space between your sense of self and the problem situation. It's just like getting to the river bank when the water is murky, water is unclean. Now you can choose to whether to get into the water once again and experience, or rather get further away from the river and go up and investigate what's happening, and then at the right moment get into the water and experience it. Similarly with life also, when there are problems in our lives, that is just like actually we are in the water and the water is unpleasant, it's ugly, it's unclean, it's threatening. A lot of unwanted things are flowing in the water. And in our mind, that is the narrative of life. So we feel stuck in the narrative, story in our head. The story is equivalent to the water. And in the story, there are like these beautiful episodes and there are these traumatic, painful, scary episodes in our story, in our narrative. A lot of negative words, right? So it's just like that. It's just like the water and the scary things that is flowing in the water, the ugly things and unpleasant things that is flowing in the water. It's just like that. So when we get so caught up in our heads about life and how it's happening to us, it's a prison. It's a prison. There's nothing chained to us, but we feel chained and imprisoned. Even in a mansion, we can feel imprisoned. Even when everyone around us is so loving, kind, supportive, and we have enough to eat, we have enough to consume, we have so-called every physical comfort, we may not feel so good in our lives. If that is the case, that simply means you are imprisoned inside the story. It's just like you're watching a movie and there is this episode, a traumatic, fearful, terrorizing episode. Suddenly you have jumped inside the screen and you are now part of the play. You are an actor in the movie and you are experiencing as if it's happening to you. When the pain is too high, you just have to jump out of it. And then suddenly you see, oh wow, things were not necessarily happening to me. I was experiencing things as if things were happening to me. But it seems like it's a movie and I can't change the script. So the NLP Success Formula essentially is just like a director of a movie editing it and changing the plot. So what kind of director you want to be in your own life? The first step is to be able to really hear your own words running in your head, or the words you're telling others. You got to hear your own voice. You really have to hear it by yourself. And they are just words. They're just words. And a word is made up of letters, like sounds. They're just sounds. A, B, C, D, right? They're just sounds, and each sound has a particular symbol. So a word is essentially symbolical representation of a frequency. Yeah? Did you get that? It's a symbolical representation of a certain frequency. So you don't like the sound you're hearing now. Forget about what others hearing. Do you like the voice in your head? Do you enjoy listening to those words, to that sound? If you don't like it, you can change it. It's a matter of changing the letters, changing the words, changing the space between letters, and changing the space between words. Restructuring the sentences. The moment you restructure the words, the space between words, letters and the space between letters, you're suddenly now creating a new harmony, new melody. Perhaps you might begin to feel easy and comfortable in your heart with the new sound, the new melody that is in your head. And as a result of that, your body might really begin to even get better and literally healed. So when we are in the ugly, murky water, we might scream and say, this is happening to me, it shouldn't have happened, I don't like it, I hate it, please don't do it to me, etc. But suddenly, we get this self-realization and we are able to jump out of the water and we are able to make changes. Not to the water, of course, in the water metaphor, of course, we can't do much about the water. We really have to let the water settle and the new clean water to flow. Now that's a different discussion, which I will definitely take up in the coming weeks. Now, when it comes to the narrative in our head, we can actually begin to make some changes about the way we talk about our life situation. For an example, we can continue to say, well, life is not happening to me, perhaps life is happening for me. Maybe there's a gift in this difficult life situation. Maybe I just need to change my glasses that I'm wearing or look at it from a different angle. And then suddenly I have a better perspective of what's going on. Maybe it's an opportunity for me to grow. I thought this is what I wanted, this is what I needed. But now I don't have what I needed or wanted. But I'm unpleasantly surprised with something else. Maybe this is what I'm supposed to experience right now. So that I actually can something better. Because with every life situation, I'm becoming a better human being. So I'm really not losing anything. I can think that I have lost and feel bad and depressed. I also can think that I'm winning no matter what. The whole world can think and believe and even say that I am losing. But I can have a different world in my mind. That I'm actually winning every moment when I'm thinking and even feeling that I'm losing. What I shared with you a while ago was my life experience. I knew how to fail very well. Therefore, every moment that I thought I was failing, I was winning. I knew very well how to fail, how to give up, how to let go of control, how to accept things for what it is. And the next moment, life was presenting me with something magnificently beautiful, many, many times better than what I thought I should have. Right? Isn't it a wonderful thought process for you to borrow? Well, I invite you to borrow that thought process. NLP was developed in 1970s in the USA. Two gentlemen called Richard Bandler and John Grinder, they did an interesting study or research. The research was about what makes successful people successful. And they brought their finding to the world through the subject of NLP and simply said, successful people have successful mental strategies. So if you want to be successful, you just have to model the thinking strategy of a successful person, and you can end up having the same level of success or even more. So this is why even in the philosophy of Buddhism, we emphasize the importance of rightful associations. If you want something better in your life, you've got to reach out and connect with another human being who seems to have made sense out of it or who seems to have sort of figured it out. The rightful association. Because they hold the keys, the mental strategies for success in that particular area of life. So now let's move on with today's topic. So we discussed enough about present life situation or present state, the first variable of the NLP Success Formula, and how important it is to become aware of the emotional charge. And what is emotional charge, which is a physical reaction or a chemical reaction in the body where the brain perceives a situation as a threat. So when the emotional charge is extremely negative and continue to be negative, it can make our body physically sick and we are going to lose control of the situation even more. So what is the first thing to do? To know that you are emotionally extremely charged in a negative way and thoughts are getting negative, body is feeling depressed, low energy and stressed out. Those are the signs, and you've got to do something to detach from or ease off the emotional charge. The first simple thing you can do before doing any other advanced technique is to learn the art of breathing, which is a science. But it's not rocket science, it's simple understanding. You start breathing. In my life, I have practiced another simple, absolutely powerful. It works like magic. It's a magical tool. Would you like to learn? That you can combine this tool with breathing. It's truly magical. That is smiling. Yes. This is an advanced form of energy medicine. You are smiling with a smile on your face, you are breathing deeply, and of course then you can combine those so-called yoga movements or qigong movements or any body movement to help that energy really flow. That's further activities to help you detach and let go of the emotional charge. Transform pain to a purposeful energy. Transform the muddy energy into something like a fertilizer, right? But before going into all that, start with breathing. So then, how do you know that you are actually in a better situation to take care of the present problem? Is you're gonna feel better in your heart, like your emotions feel calm, you feel balanced and stable like Mother Earth, right? And your mind activity, you can feel it slowing down. If it is not very positive, initially start the speed of thoughts flowing into your mind, they start slowing down. And then you also will begin to suddenly notice, if you somehow persist and breathe and relax, do some exercises, go into the nature, listen to some inspiring speech or a piece of music, enjoy time in nature, whatever, like keep your feet barefoot or feet on the ground, Mother Earth, whatever you feel guided. Initially it's about breathing, and then slowly following your intuition and doing what makes you feel good. You will begin to notice at a particular time the things start shifting gears, really towards the right direction. That is where you start receiving positive thoughts to your mind. You start attracting positive ideas, positive thoughts, and you might even not know from where it's flowing. You think you're thinking, but it's actually your brain is now attracting those positive frequencies or higher frequencies. You are able to now think creative, positive, inspiring thoughts. So this is where you have to take action, or you have to decide to get into the water and enjoy that swim. We advocate taking action only when you receive positive thoughts to your mind. Not even when you feel good and easy and comfortable in your emotions, and the body is at ease, there's not much of tension and stress. We don't recommend people taking action. I don't recommend you taking action towards the solution only with the emotions being okay and the body feeling okay. I recommend people waiting for that real flipping point. Flipping point is your brain starts attracting positive thoughts. And suddenly now the engines have changed. Now the train is moving towards a destination. One after another, there's a positive flow of thoughts. There's a positive flow of well-being in the body. There's a continuous flow of positive emotions. If you get to this place, you are actually heading towards the desired state, which is that second variable in the NLP Success Formula. The desired state. What we want. Right? We have already started moving in that direction. Now, there's something that happens in between. That is, the moment we become detached from the emotional charge, which is in the present situation, which is painful and limiting, when we start detaching, we can ask the question from ourselves before acting. It's all internal work, mental work. That the important question, what do I want? What do I want? Some people ask that question even when they are in that extremely painful situation. It's not easy to find answers within you or receive answers from outside when you are deeply in pain and asking that question. However, asking that question loud and clear in your mind, or when you're working with, as a therapist with someone else, asking that question, okay, I understand your pain. What do you want? What do you desire? What do you choose to have instead? What do you love to have in your life? You can keep asking this question, and that is the starting point of changing the energy towards what you want, what you desire, what you love to have. But when we are extremely emotionally disturbed, it's not easy to receive the answer. Answer is not what we expect when we are emotionally disturbed in the present moment. We are asking it only as a energizer, as a guiding direction, as a guiding direction. We are guiding our attention towards where we want to go. Answers might not come, but you still have to ask the question, what do I want? What do I desire? What do I choose to have instead? What do I love to bring into my experience now? What is it? So when you start moving energetically towards the desired state, you are able to articulate the answers better. Answers to this question better. For an example, let's say someone is extremely stressed out about a business problem. Now, they have gone through this video, they have learned some NLP, and they ask the question, right, what do I want? What do I want? Out of that tension. However, the trainer, the NLP coach has taught this model, so please ask the question, what do I want? What do I want? Generally, people respond saying, I don't want to have this stress. I don't want to have this money problem. I don't want to have this problem with my staff. I don't want to face this investor issue. I don't want to go through another loss-making year. So they ask the right question, but the answer is wrong, as in wrong technically. It's not wrong, technically wrong, as in it doesn't necessarily liberate the person towards the desired state. Why? The answer is about what they don't want. Why? The person is so anchored or associated in the pain of the present problem. So they know very well what they don't want. Did you get that? They know very well what they don't want. So they ask the right question, but the answer comes from the present pain. I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want this. Then it becomes like a vicious cycle. They keep saying, I don't want it, but they keep experiencing what they don't want. Sounds familiar? I am sure you find it very familiar in your life, at least one area of your life. You must have experienced this scenario, right? Yeah. So why do we experience what we don't want? Is because we keep getting associated with the emotions and fully identified with it. And we very well know, essentially our brain very well is really aware of the pain and the problem what we don't want. But what we really got to find out is what we want, what we desire, what we choose instead, what we love to have. So how do you know in a given time that you are moving towards a desired state? Initially in your mind, later in the real life experience, through your five senses, so-called real, physical, tangible life, you are beginning to experience life results in a better way. How do you know that you have started moving in that direction? First thing, I told you, start receiving inspiring thoughts, ideas, positive thoughts, ideas. Your heart is at ease, your body is feeling okay, calm, and more healthier, right? It is healthier, right? So that is how you know that. But the best indication about that you are heading in the right direction, heading towards your desired state, is that you are getting answers very clearly to this question, what do I want, in a positive way. All words are positive and inspiring. There's not a single negative thought or word about your desired state. Even as an exercise, let's say you take 15 minutes, you practice what I'm teaching, and you want to be able to articulate the answers for the question, what do I want? Like you want to understand what is my desired state, you will start getting all positive words. Your vocabulary will be positive. You will be able to write them down clearly in a piece of paper. And you will like what you are reading. You will feel good when you think those thoughts. The new melody, new sound in your head is going to become a peaceful, loving, upbeat, and a good music, a good song. That's how you know that you have come to the present state. Creating the present, you have come to the desired state. You have come to the desired state. Getting to the desired state, the first step is becoming clear about your desired state in your mind. Being able to write a new narrative in your head in a positive way. Being able to write a completely brand new story in your head about what you want. And when you read it, you feel good. Thereafter, it's all about taking action. I also mentioned to you that there are mainly 3 variables in this NLP Success Formula. Present state, desired state, and there's a space in between, the gap, the bridge. I also used a word called interferences. There are several interferences. That is stopping you moving from PS to DS. In other words, your PS becoming DS. If your present state is not the desired state, first even at a mind level or at thought level, right? If it is not the case, that means there is an interference, or there are many interferences. There's a gap. This gap is nothing but psychological and energetic. Simply, the gap which is psychological is energetic as well. So, there are several ways to understand the bridge or the gap or the interferences. Beliefs, old value systems, memories, past essentially painful memories in your life, past decisions, certain temperaments, meaning personality types, etc. So those are typically the list of interferences. When let's say, we analyze all the interferences 100 people went through in their life when moving from present state to a desired state, and we are sort of categorizing them. You can categorize all these interferences into these categories I mentioned to you. Painful memories, past decisions, values, belief systems, and temperaments of personality types, etc. Now, with years of experience working as a trainer, coach, a healer, and a teacher, what I have noticed most about most people that is affecting their journey from moving from present state to a desired state is beliefs, limiting beliefs, negative beliefs, disempowering beliefs. So if you have limiting beliefs about yourself, life outside you, the world around you, you are going to feel stuck. Limiting beliefs are thoughts repeated. Limiting beliefs are thoughts we have just started considering and accepting as true and real without even any evidence. So limiting beliefs, all beliefs essentially, are fundamental facts about existence. We have believed they are fundamental facts about existence, not that they are facts about existence. Without even evidence, we have started believing something to be real or true, and we consider such statements as beliefs. So there are positive beliefs, there are negative beliefs, there are empowering beliefs, there are disempowering beliefs. So positive beliefs, of course, create positive life experiences. Limiting painful negative beliefs creates limiting painful negative life experiences. So in today's knowledge sharing session, I'm not necessarily going to talk about in detail about limiting beliefs, but I created the foundation for our next discussion. So I'm looking forward connecting with you and add value to your life through these knowledge sharing sessions, through this video series. And I'm going to talk about beliefs, specifically about limiting beliefs that can affect our life and the life of everyone else, and this wonderful thing what we call as life, which is a gift, but the very gift of life can feel like a suffocating hell or a prison if we are chained by our own selves to those limiting beliefs. With that little preview for the next session, I'd like to thank you for joining me and listening to this session. Thank you for connecting with me. Thank you for trusting me. I want you to know that you're a wonderful human being and you're doing well. And let me remind you something that I often remind myself during the day, that I'm good enough. So you are really good enough. So once again, I kindly request you to subscribe to this channel if you feel it can add value to your life and I can play a part in your life in the near future or for a long time, and helping you to create a powerful, positive human experience, and ask any questions you may have in this comment section. Much love and blessings. Jai Shri.